Welcome back, friends, to Separating the Smith from the Myth, the podcast where legends of the Smith brothers get a spotlight, a laugh track, and sometimes a trip to the emergency room. Today's true Smith tale is one near and dear to our hearts, our joints, our ligaments, and medical bills. The danger of sports, specifically the sport that seemed determined to take out the entire Smith family, one brother at a time. Now, let's be honest. The Smith brothers were always involved in sports. Tennis, wiffle ball, football, later pickleball, and of course, basketball. The silent assassin of the family tree. Somehow, decade after decade, basketball kept finding new ways to injure us. Maybe we were too competitive. Maybe we were accident prone. Or maybe the sport itself filed a restraining order and we ignored it. But here we go. Let's start in the late 1970s. The era of short shorts, tube socks, and questionable judgment. I can still see it like it was yesterday. A pickup basketball game with a bunch of old high school chums and my brother Jeff. We were playing at our old junior high. Now picture this. Jeff scoops up a loose ball with the excitement of a man who believed, incorrectly, that the courts were a place of honor and sportsmanship. He sprints toward the opposite basket, absolutely certain that destiny had chosen him for this layup. Destiny, however, had other plans. Right as Jeff went up for the shot, my defensive coalition went into action. Completely accidental, of course. I undercut his legs, a move that would have made a 1970s NFL safety proud. Another guy swung for the ball, but smacked Jeff square in the face. And then came the third hit, the one that was definitely not accidental. You see, Jeff had allegedly stolen this guy's girlfriend, or so the guy thought, and nothing settles romantic disputes quite like plastering your rival against the gymnasium wall in front of 6 witnesses. There was Jeff, a heap of limbs and heartbreak, on the floor groaning, destiny revoked. But that was just a warm-up injury in our decades-long family highlight reel. Let's fast forward to my brother Randy, one half of the infamous Twin Tears. Randy had torn his knee playing basketball years earlier, and he never let us forget it. It was a classic Smith injury, dramatic, painful, and permanently recorded in family lore. And every time we played a game, he reminded us of that. And then came the 1990s, when you'd think we would start slowing down, or at least reading the warning labels on our own bodies. But no, oh no, the Smith brothers grabbed their high tops and marched bravely, foolishly, onto the court again. I remember 1991. My brother Rick and I had joined what could only be described as the YMCA's Over the Hill League, though they did not advertise it as such. We were playing in this huge gymnasium. We were sweating, pretending age was a myth, when suddenly I went up for a layup, or rather, I attempted to go up. A guy took out my legs from underneath me, and down I went, tearing my ACL in spectacular slow-motion agony. I writhed on the floor like a man auditioning for a soap opera. And where was my loving wife, Patty? Rushing toward me, cradling my injured body, whispering comforting words? Absolutely not. She stayed on the sidelines, unbothered, possibly filing her nails. Maybe she was part of the conspiracy to get justice for Jeff. I'm not saying she was, but the silence was very suspicious. My knee never fully recovered. To this day, it's still stiff and emotionally offended. Then came 1992, proving once again that we did not learn our lesson. Rick, the other half of the Twin Terrors, was playing a pickup game with me and other middle-aged dreamers at the same gymnasium when he grabbed a loose ball and landed wrong. What followed was a sound I will never forget. You could hear it across the entire gym. The kind of sound that makes every man stop mid-dribble and think, "There, but for the grace of God, go my ankles." Rick, who had built his life on being the family macho man, attempted to walk it off. And that's when the noises began. I can only describe them as cowboy cattle drive yells. Yeah, 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 yeah. The whole gym stopped. Players on other courts froze and looked around, half expecting a herd of cattle to come charging across the polished hardwood. A man clutching his broken ankle, hollering like he was driving longhorns across Texas. It was quite the sight and sound. And then, in a moment that still haunts me, the first person to come to Rick's aid wasn't his brother, but Patty. There she was, bent over him like Florence Nightingale, Mother Teresa, and a Hallmark movie nurse all rolled into one. I was stunned, flabbergasted, outraged. Where was this Patty when I tore my ACLL the year before? I had a catastrophic injury that still hurts today. Rick simply had a broken ankle, which, judging by the sound he made, you would have thought had detached completely. But no, he got the nurturing, the sympathy, the medical attention, and today, Rick is fully healed. Meanwhile, I limp around like a Civil War veteran, telling stories on my porch. But hey, that is what separates the Smith from the myth. And yes, the injuries continued. Youngest brother Kyle tore his ACL playing tennis against me. I think there's a recurring theme here. I heard that ligament snap from across the court. And we don't have the time today to go into the expansive anthology of Jeff's full injury catalog. That would require a multi-part documentary series. So, maybe the moral is this. Basketball may be fun, but for the Smith brothers, it was basically a contact sport with a side of orthopedic surgery. Yet, somehow, despite the yelling, limping, cracking, snapping, and suspicious spouses, we kept coming back for more. Because we were brothers, competitive, reckless, loud, and unstoppable, even when the game temporarily stopped us. And that, my friends, is what truly separates the Smith from the myth. I'm Brian Smith, survival of multiple family sporting events, reminding you that sometimes the stories hurt, but they're always worth telling.